This is Neha Sisodia, Assistant Professor at New LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. We are continue with our discussion on entity relationship model, that is part of our first unit, data models. So we are going to discuss keys, ER diagram, specialization, generalization and aggregation that comes into participation of entities in the relationship diagram. Now, what are keys? So, firstly we have something called as super key. So, super key of an entity set is one of the attributes or is combination of more than one attributes whose value are uniquely determined for each entity set. So, either we can take one single attribute or we can take combination of more than two attributes in order to form this super key. Then we will have something called as candidate key. So, we need to minimize this super key, that is the minimal super key is called as candidate key. We can also include some of the attributes that are not required to identify a particular entity in the entity set. So, we need to remove those attributes and keep only the essential attributes that are required for a particular entity to get identified. So, customer ID in case of customer will serve as a candidate key for a specific entity customer. Okay. Then we have account number, which is a candidate key for an entity set account. So, each of the account is being identified by its number. Although we can have several candidate keys, but only one candidate key we need to select, which will serve as a primary key and will be used for all other correspondence for identifying a particular entity instance. Now, we have key for relationship set. So, we can have combination of primary keys of the participating entity sets forming a super key of the relationship set. So, what we need to do is, if we have a relationship between customer and account as a depositor, then we can have primary key of customer and primary key of account, that is customer ID and account number, that will serve as a super key for the relationship depositor. But actually this means a pair of entity sets can have at most one relationship in a particular relationship set. If we wish to track the access date, we can also take it into account. Now, we must consider the mapping cardinalities of the relationship set as well for deciding what are the candidate keys. So, what we need to do is we need to consider the meaning of the relationship set as well for selecting the primary key. In case if we have more than one candidate key, we should go by the semantics of the relationship set, which will be easily identifiable as a primary key. Now, for design issues, there are few design issues in ER diagram. Suppose we have a use of entity set versus attributes. So, choice mainly depends upon the structure of enterprise that is being modeled under the ER diagram and also on the meaning which is associated with that particular attribute. Again, we should have a possible guideline which designate the relationship set of action which occurs between the two entities. Secondly, we should have binary versus n-ary relationship that we have seen in the previous discussion, that we can have more than two entities that can participate in a relationship. That will be complex, but while modeling an ER diagram, we can make more than one entity set participating into a single relationship that will show more clarity over the relationship among the entity set, but that is difficult to model in terms of database. So we'll see it later. And placement of relationship attributes are also difficult because we need to model only the important attributes that are required for identifying that particular entity. Now there is something called as weak entity set. Now we also have few entity sets that do not have primary key. So there is no attribute that can be identified as a primary key for that particular entity set. So the existence of entity set depends upon the existence of identifying entity set. Actually, it must relate to identifying the entity set via total or one to many relationship set from identifying weak entity set. So identifying relationship actually depicted by a diamond, a double diamond more precisely. So what we need to have is, if there is no primary key, means we are not able to identify any entity instance among this entity set. So we need to have some discriminator that we can add on to this weak entity set in order to distinguish among all the entities in the weak entity set. So what we have is, the primary key of the weak entity set is actually formed by primary key of the strong entity set that is involved in the relationship. Plus we also need to identify some attribute as a discriminator within the weak entity set. So let's take an example. We need to depict the weak entity set and we have to mention it by a double rectangle in an entity set, and the relationship which is associated with the weak entity set is given by the double diamond. So the underlying attribute which is there in the payment, that is payment number, this dashed underline is called as discriminator, which is the attribute of this payment itself. Now the primary key, if we want to have for this entity set payment, then we have to take the primary key of this strong entity set. The strong entity set means for which I can make out the primary key. So this primary key for payment will be the primary key of the strong entity set as well as the discriminator we have identified in the weak entity set. Now the primary key of the strong entity set is not actually explicitly stored with the weak entity set, but it is always required for identifying the relationship among them. And if the loan number were explicitly stored, the payment could be made as a strong entity set because the loan number will be unique for the payments as well. So we need not to explicitly store that, but we always have to define the relationship among the store and the strong and the weak entity set by a primary key of the strong entity set as well as the discriminator among the weak entity set attributes. Now suppose in an university we have an example that, suppose in an university a course is a strong entity set and a course offering can be modeled as a weak entity set. So the discriminator of the course offering would be semester including the year and the section number if there are more than one sections. If we model the course offering as a strong entity set, we could use a course number as an attribute. So we need to always implicitly store this course number attribute. Now there is something called as specialization. So specialization actually is a top-down design approach in which we designate some subgroups within that entity set and they are distinctive from each other in the entity set. So these actually subgroups becomes lower level of the entity set that have some attributes and they participate into the relationship. They do not apply any higher level entity set. So what we can depict it by is a triangle, and we also have a relationship called as is a relationship. So for an example, a customer is a person as well. So if we generalize if we have a general concept for a person, that person may be an employee, it may be a customer, it may be anything, right? So the attribute inheritance, that is the lower level entity set inherits all the attributes and relationship participation of the higher level entity set that are linked together. So this is how we can show spatialization in our ER diagram. So suppose we have an employee and we have a customer in one organization. So a person will have some specific attributes that are name, street, city, that are common to all employee and customer. Further, we have different kinds of employee, that are officer, teller, secretary. So they all will carry out one attribute, that is salary, and they also have some other attributes that are distinguishing from each other. So we have office number, for teller we have station number, hours and hours they worked for. Then we have secretary, that also have to mention the hours they worked for, right? So we have some distinguishing attributes as well. In generalization, what happens is we take a bottom up approach for designing. So what we do is we combine the number of entity set and that they share the same type of features. And as we were moving from top to bottom in specialization, we were going towards a lower level entity set. Now we are going for a higher level entity set. So specialization and generalization are simple inversions that we usually use, but in ER diagram we have to explicitly specify where we are using specialization and generalization, and they can be used interchangeably. Now we can have multiple specialization in an entity set depending upon different kind of features. For an example, we have a permanent employee, we have a temporary employee. In addition to that, we can also have a bifurcation like officer, secretary, teller. For each particular employee, we would have a member of one of the permanent employee or a temporary employee, and also a member of officer, secretary or teller, because these are the designation and this is type of appointment for a particular employee. So this ISA relationship is also actually referred to as superclass or subclass relationship. Now we'll see there are some design constraints on specialization and generalization that we usually use. So the constraint on which the entities can be member of a given lower level entity set, the first one is condition defined. So all customers over 65 years are members of senior citizen entity set, and senior citizen is a person itself. Also, we can have a user defined constraint. Then we have a constraint on whether or not the entities may belong to more than one level of the entity set within a single generalization. Suppose I have an entity set that belongs to lower level entity set as well as the upper level entity set. So what we have to see that it is disjoint or it is overlapping. So an entity set can belong to more than one lower level of the entity set, or it may only belongs to one lower level of the entity set. So if it is belonging to only one lower level, that will be called as disjoint. If it is involved in more than one lower level entity set, that will be overlapping. Now there is something called as completeness constraint. So actually it specifies whether or not an entity in the higher level entity set must belong to at least one of the lower level entity set within a generalization. So what we have here is an entity must belong to at least one of the lower level entity set, and in partial what happens is an entity need not to belong to one of the lower level entity sets. So total means each of them must have to, but in partial it is not always required. So there is something called as aggregation that considers actually the ternary relationship here. or works on. So which we saw earlier as well, that if we have more than one entity belonging to that, will be called as ternary relationship. Suppose we want to record the manager for tasks which is performed by the employee at particular branch. So what we need to do is we need to aggregate all the things, that is employee, branch, job, all together, that is called as aggregation, and we need to find out the performance of the task which has been performed. Now aggregation actually is the relationship set that is works on, as we have seen previously, and manages represents the overlapping information. So each and every manager's relationship corresponds to works on as well as to the other relationship. So we cannot discard work on relationship within that relationship set. So what we can do is we need to eliminate redundancy via aggregation. So what we can do is we can treat the relationship as an abstract entity and allow the relationship between the relations, and the abstraction of the relationship into the abstraction will be taken to a new entity set. Now without introducing any redundancy, we can follow the diagrams as it can represent here. An employee works for a particular job at a particular branch, and an employee has a branch. A job combination may have to associate it with the manager. So altogether for an employee we have a particular job and a particular branch that is associated with that employee, and altogether the entire employee is associated with some manager. So this is how we can represent aggregation into our ER diagram, that is the employee, job and branch will be associated for a particular employee, and all the things, all the information that is associated with this employee and the relationships will be related to this managers, that is with the manager. Now there are some ER decisions that has to be taken. The user of the attribute and the entity set that represents an object, whether the real world concept is best expressed by the entity set or the relationship set. So what we do is the user of the ternary relationship set versus a pair of binary relationship set has to be taken under consideration while designing the ER diagram. Secondly, we always have to use the strong or weak entity set. We need to identify whether we can make out the primary key or the key for a particular entity set or not. We also have to use specialization and generalization wherever it is necessary. We can also use aggregation in order to eliminate the redundancy in the concerned structure. Now this is the entire EI diagram which we have studied in parts in several different phases, and we also have seen different kind of identification of these symbols, what for they are. So this represents the weak entity set, this is for the discriminator, payment number is for the discriminator, and what kind of participation we have seen, what is the attribute, what are type of attributes we have seen, specialization also we have seen, is a specialization. Then we have also seen multiple relationship that are involved in one particular entity, and one particular entity has been involved to several different entities. So also the role of a particular specific entity among the same entity set, that is the employee which works for manager, and in fact the manager is also working for the company as an employee. So altogether for a part of functionality or modularity, you can say, for a banking enterprise, this ER diagram is an abstract form. So in the next subsequent video we are going to see integrity constraints, and we'll see more on design constraints over ER diagram in integrity constraints as well. Thanks for watching this video.